Hello, everyone. I am here tonight with Julie. And Julie and I met because she is a fellow breastie. And Julie we've become good friends now. We've bonded. And we met through the New Jersey um, support group on Facebook. And so I want to welcome Julie. Welcome, Julie.
Hey,
How are
even though
you?
I'm not from New Jersey and from Texas,
That's right. We don't know
I
how
ended
she
up on
ended up
that
on there.
page.
So yes, she's my friend from Texas, and she ended up seeing my interview that I did with Jennifer Moran, and she heard about the book, and she recently just reminded me that she carried the book into surgery with her, which I thought was just so sweet. So, Julie, we're glad that you're here to tell your story.
Yes.
Let's just start by tell us a little bit about you. And you live in Texas. You've got two kids, right?
Yes, I have two boys. I have one that'll be 21 next month. Oh my gosh. And then I have one that just turned 3 on the 14th of this month. So, yes, I started all over. My boys are almost 18 years apart, but my little man's my miracle boy. Lost 4 babies in between. Um, and he's truly, truly a blessing. So, yeah, 18 years apart, people thought I was nuts, insane. What was I thinking? But he's been truly a gift
Oh, that's beautiful.
that I wouldn't change.
I've seen pictures of your boys, and it looks like they have a really sweet bond, which is so nice.
Yes, they're like best friends.
That's awesome. I love that.
Definitely something I prayed for. So don't
Uh,
ever give up if it's something in
Absolutely.
your heart.
So you had implants,
Yes.
and when did you get your implants?
I actually remember because I was scheduled to have surgery the week of Ike because I live in Texas and
Right.
I lived, 20 minutes from Galveston, and we were actually had a mandatory evacuation the day of my surgery. Gosh, that should have been a sign.
Yeah, right. If only you
um,
knew.
right? So we ended up evacuating. My surgery was rescheduled a week later. Um, Actually went to 5 different surgeons before I picked this particular surgeon, just because I wanted to get different views. If I needed a lift, if I didn't need a lift, what was best, what was safe.
Hmm.
Um, and I finally picked a doctor, and I had the gummy bear silicone implants put in by Mentor
Okay.
in 2008.
In 2008. Okay. Okay. So you got them. How did you feel right after you had them put in?
Um, wow. Actually, I was in a lot of pain. I
Okay.
had friends of mine tell me, "Oh, I was washing my hair, I was doing this and that the next day," and I was like,
Not me.
I can't even put my own shirt on, or I had to have help putting my pants on.
Hmm.
I was in some severe pain for about 2 weeks afterwards,
I
I would
went through that
say.
same thing. Yeah. Yeah. I knew people who had it done and they were just up and out partying and I couldn't get off the couch. So, yeah, it's funny how our bodies almost, react immediately and we don't realize it.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So you had your implants in 2008. Now, take me back a little bit before you had your implants put in.
Okay.
As we know through all of the support groups and just getting to know each other, we all have a reason for wanting the implants in the first place. So, of course, reconstruction women are different because,
Right.
their situation is just different. But for enhancement reasons, what were the reasons why you wanted to have implants?
Uh, mine actually, with the way that I looked at myself and my body and the way I thought of myself, started out as a child. Um, I was abandoned and abused as a child. And so from a very young age, I didn't have a very good self image of myself. And I always thought if I was a better person, a better daughter, maybe these things wouldn't have happened to me. So I dealt with that as a child, and it just went into my adult age, something that I always struggled with. If I was better, if I improved this, if I did this, if I did that, you know. And then I got married very young. I was 18, married 10 years, which is pretty good for getting married at 18. And my ex-husband, he had an affair on me. And one of the reasons that I was told that it happened, not only by him, but by the woman he had an affair on me with, was because maybe if I would have got implants and had larger, bigger breasts, maybe that wouldn't have happened to me. You know, and I was already very insecure about my body, the way my body looked, even though I was athletic and everyone thought I was insane, you know, but I had my son at 19. So after having him, I felt like when I bent over, it was like my boobs were like rocks in a sock, you know, type thing. You know, they didn't bounce back like the rest of my body did.
Right, right.
And so I was very insecure about that. And then, but I never thought about implants, you know, it didn't come to my mind really until I was told this lie.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
maybe
you weren't one of those women, like, because for myself, I had always thought about it. It was something I wanted to do. This wasn't you. This was literally kind of put in your head by your now ex-husband and his mistress.
yes.
That's incredible. And I can't believe she had the balls to call you up and even say that.
It's pretty bold.
Yeah, to say the least.
But they both did me a favor.
Yes.
And I'm better off today.
Sometimes when we look back, things are a blessing in disguise, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
But I believed the lie, you know. I believed, you know, that if I did, maybe that wouldn't have happened. And it was kind of a domino effect of from my childhood. Well, maybe if I was a better daughter, or that, you know, I always blamed myself. I just was always that type of person that if anything happened, I took it internally.
Yeah, yeah. So now after this happened and you're at that time your husband and this woman said this to you, did you get divorced at that point or did you get your implants first? What happened then?
Well, we were, you know, married 10 years, got together at 17. He was all I knew. It was pretty devastating. We tried to work things out for about 4 months, but the trust was gone and it just couldn't be repaired. So we ended up, we got a divorce in 2007. I'm sorry, actually, we got separated in 2007. Our divorce was finalized in the beginning of 2008.
Okay.
And then I got my implants in September of 2008. So it was kind of like a divorce present to myself.
Right. And it was kind of like I'm going to do this for me now, not
yes.
for you.
Yes.
Right.
And maybe some man will love me and this won't happen to me again.
Right.
Crazy thinking.
So, okay. So, first of all, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's crazy. But like you said, it's a blessing in disguise now looking back. So, all right. So then you got your implants in 2008 and initially you were feeling in pain and maybe not like, you know, some of the other girls who had gotten implants. So take me through the first couple of years with your implants. Did you have some time to enjoy having them? Did you get remarried? What happened after 2008?
So I went into surgery, you know, and I was pretty small. I was an A, and I was like, I just want, you know, a full D, and I woke up like way bigger than what
really
I had asked for. I was like, whoa. But I was like, I was happy, you know, I loved him. But as months went by, that emptiness came back in again.
Right.
You know, it didn't change how I felt on the inside.
It only fills that void just
for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a moment.
Right.
And so yeah, I enjoyed him for a moment, and then all those feelings started coming back again. I met someone else, remarried.
And how long are you guys married now?
Well, that was my second marriage.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, we were only married 5 years, and I was broken. I shouldn't have gotten married, but I just married someone that was completely different and swept me off my feet, kind of thing. And I'm not the type of person to get married and divorce. Like, marriage is disposable, because I come from, my grandparents who raised me were married, pretty much raised me. They were married 65 years.
Wow.
And so, I had that good visual of what a good marriage was.
Right, but this marriage didn't work out either.
No, it was just, it wasn't healthy.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so your husband now, because I know you're married now to a great guy,
Yes.
right? So when did you guys meet?
Oh gosh, we've actually known each other 27 years.
That's
So
cute.
he messaged me on Facebook, and we just talked about, oh, hey, hey, stranger, remember back in junior high, this and that. We had tons of mutual friends, and it was Super Bowl was coming up, and he was going to be coming into Houston, and he wanted to see me. And so when he came in, we saw each other, and it was just meant to be. It just took 26
Aw,
years.
right. Well, some of the best things come to those who wait, so
Yes.
that's good. When did you start feeling sick from your implants?
Now that I look back on, the time frame from when I had them put in until now, I never had high school acne or skin problems.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when I got implants in, I started having, all of these skin problems. Um, I'm sorry, you might hear my husband and my little kid in the background.
So cute.
But yeah, I started having skin problems, in the early beginning. But
Okay.
I didn't know why. I thought maybe it was just stress,
Mm-hmm.
hormones. It always felt like my hormones were off.
Yeah.
I had health problems, but I didn't, like I said, I just chalked them up to,
Sure.
hormones and stress and things like that, because I've had, several female issues and surgeries and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Um, and then last year, in April of 2018, I was the most depressed I've ever been in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no reason to be.
Right.
I had everything that I prayed for, a wonderful husband who was supportive, healthy for me. God just knew who I needed, and yes, we have an awesome miracle boy that I was given, or we both were given, and
And there was really
that not even
no
the doctors thought was possible.
right. And there was no real reason for the depression that you were experiencing and all of that, right?
No. And like I said, in April 2018, the depression just hit me like, I was never a suicide, never thought about suicide, but it hit me so hard that that I had, I thought maybe if I just get into a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
and my life has gone like that, nobody will care.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Just
listen,
crazy thinking,
right. For
you
any of the
know?
girls who have gone through breast implant illness that are watching, I'm sure that they, including myself, had similar thoughts because the illness does something to us and to our brains, between the anxiety and the depression, that you feel sick, you've got, you had these skin issues and the fatigue, and
Yes.
you were weak and you couldn't work out, and there's no explanation for any of it, and so we all begin to have those same thoughts,
Hmm.
whether or not we choose to recognize it or admit it.
Right.
we all kind of had those feelings like this is no way to live, and I
Right.
might just be better off. And I think everybody, because you almost feel like a burden, you're always feeling sick and you're always just not well, and you feel
Right.
like a burden. So I can relate to that. And I think, kudos to you for being able to admit it, because I don't think that a lot of people, or not everybody, can. So
Well, my husband, he would ask me, he would say, "What's wrong with you? What, maybe you need to go see a doctor. Maybe you need to go get on meds." And I was like, "No, I don't want to." My background is in medical insurance, and I've seen, what medications can do to people and the side effects, and I was just like adamant, no, 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 I didn't. And I'm not saying that, you know, people shouldn't take medication for depression and anxiety or don't take it. I'm just saying, me personally,
hmm
I didn't want to go that route. So
yeah,
I said, you know what? I'm gonna get in the gym. I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life, because that's gonna release endorphins, and that's gonna get rid of my depression. My depression did start lifting. My anxiety did start going away. I started eating clean. I just started. I was 39, and I felt like the best shape of my life. Like January of this year, is like my body just started saying no to everything, and it just started happening quickly.
yeah.
um I mean, I don't know if you want me to go through my symptoms.
Yeah, definitely. I think sharing your list of symptoms is important, because um, so many women who have implants, and if there are women, watching, who are just curious, maybe they're not experiencing any illness. There are many women who enjoy their implants and are fine
Yes.
for years.
Yeah.
And the quote that some women like to say is, "You're fine until you're not fine." And
Yes.
that's what happened to you. You were fine, and then all of a sudden, like that, your body said, "I'm done fighting. I can't do this any longer." And so
Right.
what symptoms did that bring on for you?
Well, and before I talk about my symptoms, the crazy thing is like, like again, I said I always felt like I had hormonal issues. My hair was falling out and all these, things. Am I going in early menopause, because I had a baby at an older age, and things like that. And so I had a very good, close relationship with my OB-GYN, and I was very on top of my well woman and things like that. And every time I would go and see her, she's like, "Julie, I don't, all your blood work is coming back great." She said, "I don't know why your hair is falling out. I don't, my thyroid was fine." I mean,
hmm
she checked every blood test you can think of.
Yeah.
And then and I started just having like severe joint pain to where I couldn't even carry my son anymore, and I was walking with a limp um, in my hip. Like it felt so deep in my hip
hmm
that I couldn't even sit with my legs crossed. And I thought, well, maybe did I do something working out, And I had X-rays, and they're like, you know, everything is fine. And I started having heart palpitations,
hmm
which was weird, and because of heart disease running in my family, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go see a heart doctor. So I had all these tests done on my heart, and they're like, your heart's great.
Yep.
Um, I started losing my vision, and I just had my eyes checked like 6 months prior, and I had 20/20 vision. Um, I was waking up like I just got out of the bathtub, like drenched in sweat,
Right.
and my doctor's like, "You're not going in early menopause." It was like everything that was going on with me, every doctor was like, "You're fine, you're
Right.
fine."
Right.
I mean, they were like, "Here's some depression, anxiety medication, and go home. You're crazy." That's
Yeah.
how it made me feel.
Yes, absolutely. And
And
this is the point in the interview where whoever's watching and has gone through this is saying to themselves, well, shit, she's telling my story, because we all go through the same list of symptoms. And
Mhm.
it's so crazy to me.
I
Um,
had a ton of them. I mean, And I don't mean to keep going on about them, but I'm an outdoor person. And it got to where I was sensitive to light, to the sun, even to sounds. And I love my music blaring in my car, and I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even do that anymore. I couldn't enjoy going outside with my boys without feeling like my skin was on fire and something was crawling through my skin, and I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Right.
And they checked me for, they thought, well, maybe I had lupus or POTS.
Right.
Just you have all these rare autoimmune, but they just couldn't ever pinpoint what was going on. And finally, the only thing I didn't have out of all the breast implant illness symptoms was weight gain.
Right.
Other than that, every symptom you look up, I
Yeah.
pretty much had. And the last two things that really just said, you know what, something is going on, and I don't know why, was one day we were in the car and we were driving to a particular place, my husband and we were driving, and I was just looking out the window and I felt lost. And he said, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Where are we going? What are we doing?" And he goes, "I just told you 5 minutes ago." And I said, "No, you didn't." And we actually kind of, I wouldn't say argument, but I mean, he was a little frustrated, and
Sure.
I was frustrated. And then my older son was sitting in the back seat, and he goes, "Mom, he did just tell you that." And then my son goes, "Mom, lately we keep having to repeat ourselves. Lately you've been asking like the same questions over and over, or I'm telling the same story over and over." And he's like, "Mom, you've already told me that." And I'm like, "No." Like, I literally felt like my grandmother who raised me when she passed away in 2017, and she had Alzheimer's and dementia, and I literally felt like her. I remember she would stare out the window like a lost child, and she was sad, and that's how I felt.
And that was your moment where you said, something is wrong with me. This isn't normal for somebody my age. I'm not my grandma.
No.
Right.
No. And then I remember telling my husband, I said, "I don't know what's wrong. Doctors can't find out what's wrong with me. I literally feel like I'm losing my mind."